Someone asks you, so what do you do? You say, I'm a life coach, and they nod and change the subject. You have felt this. Every coach has felt this. And most coaches think, I need to say it with more confidence, better words, better delivery. So they practice, they refine, they rehearse, and it still doesn't work. Here's why. You are not giving the wrong answer, you are answering the wrong question entirely. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Plus, I will give you the one sentence that actually makes people stop and lean in. Stay with me because this changes everything. Most coaches ask, how do I explain what I do? That's the wrong question. The right question is, who am I actually talking to? Let me explain why this distinction matters so much. Think about it. I'm a life coach is a description of you, your title, your identity, your label. But the person standing in front of you, they don't care about your title. They care about one thing. Can this person solve my problem? So when you say I'm a life coach, they hear nothing specific. Not because coaching is not valuable, but because that sentence tells them nothing about their world. It's like a doctor walking up to someone and saying, I'm a medical professional. Technically true, completely useless. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because this is not just a language problem, it's a decision problem. And until you understand what I mean by that, you will keep tweaking your words and wondering why nothing changes. I know this because I lived it. For a long time, I was answering the wrong question too. And the reason was something most coaches don't want to admit. When I started my coaching business, I had the skills, organic marketing, content strategy, client acquisition frameworks. I genuinely knew how to help people, but I had never decided who I was helping. So I helped everyone: productivity coaches, health coaches, freelancers, people running Facebook ads, life coaches, healers, NLP practitioners, anyone who wanted clients through organic. I was their person. And this felt smart at the time. More people I can help, better my chances. So Monday, I'm creating content for freelancers. Tuesday, I'm speaking to health coaches. Wednesday, a life coach is resonating. Thursday, someone running ads messages me. And from the outside, it looked like momentum, different conversations, different people, and things were moving. But something was quietly breaking underneath, and I didn't see it until it was costing me clients. Do you know what was actually happening? I will tell you in the next point, because this is the part most coaches completely miss. Here's what was actually happening. The freelancer who resonated with me on Monday, by Wednesday felt a disconnect because I was no longer talking to them. I was talking to someone else. And they didn't leave angrily, they didn't tell me, they just quietly drifted. They stopped engaging, they stopped trusting, they stopped seeing me as their person. I had become like a buffet, a little bit of everything for everyone. And here's the thing about a buffet. Nobody thinks of a buffet when they are deeply, genuinely hungry. They think of the one place that makes exactly what they need. I was not that place for anyone. I was a temporary option for everyone, and they showed up in my numbers. Some months were good, most were not. I kept blaming my content, my hooks, my captions, my consistency, when the real problem had nothing to do with any of that. It was one thing: I had never made a decision. And the day I made that decision, everything shifted. Here's what I mean. One day I sat down and asked myself one honest question: not how do I get more clients, but whose world do I actually understand? Who have I lived alongside? Whose pain do I know from experience, not just knowledge? And the answer was immediate: life coaches, healers, and NLP practitioners. Because this wasn't just a business choice, I had done a life coaching certification myself, I had studied inner child healing, I was in the middle of my NLP certification, I understood the world from the inside. The frustration of having four certifications and still no consistent clients. The guilt of spending money on courses and having nothing to show family. The self doubt, the questioning. I had felt versions of all of this. And that depth of understanding is exactly what was missing when I tried to speak to everyone. So I made the switch. I stopped talking to everyone. I started talking to one person, the certified coach or healer who has all the skills but still can't get consistent clients. And the moment I made that decision, my content hit differently. Because now I wasn't hoping someone resonates, I was speaking to one specific person, and that person felt seen. And when people feel seen, they trust. And trust is what turns a follower into a client. And here's where it gets practical. Because choose one person is advice you have probably heard before. The real question is, how do we actually do it? That's what the next point is all about. There are two things that needs to be clear. Not 10 things, not a whole rebrand, two things. The first is, who is the one specific person you are talking to? Not anyone who wants to grow, not people who feel stuck, a real specific person. someone with specific language, specific fears, or specific world. And here's the question that cuts through all the confusion: whose world have you personally lived in? Not studied from the outside, lived. If you came from corporate burnout, your who is probably the professional trying to escape. If healing changed your life with a personal crisis, your who is probably someone in the middle of that crisis right now. Your story is your niche. That's your who. The second is what. Not help them grow their business, something specific. What is the exact problem they are sitting with right now? Posting every day but getting zero clients, certified but don't know how to charge, know their stuff but freeze when it's time to sell. The more specific your what, the more powerfully it lands. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I'm a life coach. I can help people with so many things. And you are right. As a life coach, your skills work across relationship, wealth, health, career, the tools you have applied to any human being. That's the beauty of what you have learned. But here's what most coaches confuse: because I can help anyone, I should talk to everyone. That's the trap. When you are starting out, you are not yet a known name. People don't trust you yet. And people trust you for one reason only: they feel what you understand their specific world, not transformation in general, their specific stuck point. And the only way to speak to a specific stuck point is to have chosen a specific person. Now let's put this together. Because once you have your who and your what, there's one sentence that does all the work. The structure is simple. I help your target market who is facing exact stuck point. That's it. Not your title, not your certifications, not your method or your philosophy, just who you help and what they are stuck with. For me, it's I help certified coaches and healers who are posting every day but still can't get consistent clients. That sentence does three things at once. One, it tells them exactly who you serve. Two, it shows them you understand a real specific problem. Three, if they are that person, they feel seen. And feeling seen is the first step towards trust. And trust is first step towards the sale. Let me show you what happens when the right person hears the sentence. They don't nod and change the subject. They say, wait, that's me. And that's when the real conversation starts. I spent a long time trying to be the person who helps everyone, and what I got from that was a lot of conversations, very few clients. The day I chose one person and started speaking their specific language, the conversations became fewer, but they became my clients. The kind where someone says, I have been following you for a while, I think I need your help. That's what clarity does. Not more reach, better fit. Before you close this video, try this right now. Complete this sentence: I help your target market who is stuck at some point. Say it out loud. If it comes out clearly and specifically, you are ahead of most coaches. If it doesn't come out, that's not a failure. That's just the next thing to get clear on. And you don't have to figure that out alone. Let's find your exact sentence together, because the way you answer, what do you do, is not just a first impression, it's the foundation of everything. Your content, your conversations, your clients. All of it starts with one clear sentence. Get that right, everything else follows. I'll see you in the next one.